Welcome viewers, I welcome you all once again to this NPTEL course on education leadership. In the last session we are discussing about innovative pedagogy and technology and its role in learning. So, I have already discussed about so many innovative pedagogies like web based learning, collaborative learning, experiential learning, as well as some of the approaches like metacognition, scaffolding, etc., etc. So, today we will discuss about another technique, that is the game based learning. By game based learning primarily we mean digital games, video games, and what are its benefits, how can we use it for pedagogical purpose, how can we use it for enhancing our cognitive skills, computational skills, etc., that we will discuss briefly. So, digital games so research has said that video games they have been found to improve the visual acuity and attention. So, when the children are exposed to or adults or the youngsters, when they are playing the video games in computers, etc., it primarily enhances the sharpness of visual acuity, perception, attention, and it also enhances their ability to focus on certain things while being engaged in some kind of cognitive tasks. Video games play a role in learning depending on the factors. Again, in video games also there are so many other factors like socio-cultural factors are there, whether it is the factor of winning or achieving the goal which has been embedded in the game, or it is a like what are the characters, what are the features or the participant structure that is embedded in the video games, what is the theme, what is the demography of players, whether it is meant for the adult learners, youngsters or the teenagers or the children, so for whom it has been prepared. All these factors also matter a lot while playing the video games. So, it generates the curiosity, it generates the motivation and keeps the attention focused on the content and the playing of the games. So, games are the content providers in all domains of learning like knowledge and skill development. So, depending on the context, depending on the content, like for whom it has been prepared, whether it is prepared for the children, is only meant for entertainment, or it is for the adolescents, boys, youngsters, etc., for whom it has been meant for that means engagement in a kind of providing some kind of learning content. So, it enhances their cognitive skills in terms of sometimes some math puzzles have been embedded, some kinds of word vocabulary puzzles have been embedded in the games. Sometimes it is about racing and winning or overcoming the hurdles in the game, or like all kinds of games, like different kinds of indoor games, outdoor games can also be embedded. At the same time, the the components of the winning the game and the time frame, like within the time frame it also decides how speedily, how accurately you can complete the task. So, it gives a kind of sense of competition, sense of achievement, sense of self assessment, we can say how quickly we can do it, how quickly the player can complete it with accuracy, with correctness. So that means he can win a star, he can win the like the credits, all kinds of things. So, even the non-educational games also enable the players to learn the skills and competencies that contributes to the success in the school subjects. As we have already discussed, games are of different types. Sometimes it embedded the content of like the number puzzles, math puzzles, word puzzles, or sometimes it also wants to give some kind of information about the environment, like how to maintain the environment, sustainably use the resources, how to protect our environment, and how the natural disaster takes place and how it affects our life, or some kind of information like like for example, how to use the food resources, water resources sustainably, so that we can save it for the future, for our future generation, etc. So, these kinds of components, these kind of content can also be embedded within the games framework, and it also enhances their learning and understanding skills, and their not only knowledge and information about certain context, it also that means give them some kind of positive attitude, it also develops positive attitudes and different kinds of skills like computational skill, math skill, how to complete the task very quickly, speed, accuracy also increases. So, both the entertainment games and non-entertaining games can also can also generate some kind of learning skills like focus of attention, then perception, then understanding, then completing the task within the stipulated time. These kind of skills can also be developed. So, digital games enhance the perception and attention, collaborative problem solving, digital and print literacy, computer and IT fluency, systematic logical thinking, ethical reasoning, etc. So, research has proved that researchers, those who have conducted the empirical work on game based learning, taking it as a pedagogical method for improving or enhancing the children's cognitive skills or the academic skills, self-regulatory skills, etc. They have found that in different contexts, digital games have been proven to enhance the not only the IT literacy or the digital game literacy or print literacy, like all these things, but also it gives a kind of improvement in the logical thinking, the reflective thinking, because when the child when the child plays the game, so he reflects upon his past activity, then goes back, again comes forward, and in this way back and forth process he also learns which will be the most appropriate step or approach to complete the task. So, in this process of kind of trial and error and hit and run kind of cases, so he gradually learns how to have mastery, how to acquire mastery over certain skills, so that I can complete the task in a stipulated time. So, it also enhances the skill of problem solving skills, how to solve the problems initially after so many failures, etc. He learns quickly, like this is the right approach through which I can complete the task or solve the problem in a very sequential and effective way within the stipulated skill. So, it enhances the perception, attention and being focused on the task, then problem solving skills, and again reasoning and logical thinking, computational thinking, all kinds of these learning skills also develop, that research has already proven it. So, games have the potential to transform the assessment, as playing the game successfully and advancing through the levels itself is a form of assessment. So, while playing the game, the player, he himself also assess his own performance, like how quickly he can done it, how accurately he can do it, and again when he has he goes back to the past and reviewed his performance, then he has referred back to his failures, some of the failures. So, he evaluates himself, the learner, the player himself assess. So, it is a kind of self assessment mode also, through which the learner, the player learns a lot about his own abilities, skills and competency. So, it develops a kind of self understanding among the players also. Simulation games could have the instructional pedagogical relevance. Simulation games, like suppose we want to simulate a kind of social situation, suppose we want to show the poverty as a concept, we want to show it, we want to make the children understand the whole thing, what is poverty, and as a result of this, in order to avoid this, how can we use sustainably all our resources like food, water or energy. So, how to use these resources sustainably, and we can put forth these ideas, and that means try to make them understand in the context of a video games or the computer game, which focuses or which makes them understand what is poverty, because poverty as such we cannot verbally articulate. So, in order to show it, in order to experience it, in order to realize it, we have to show a embedded game. So, these kind of concepts, these kind of simulated games can enhance the understanding about some of the social issues, some of the economical issues, some of the environmental issues. So, simulated games also helps a lot, having the pedagogical and instruction relevance by closely aligning the content and the standard. So, giving just in time feedback, again while playing the game also it gives some kind of feedback. That means, as you move on in the games, in play the different characters and move on to complete the game, etc. So, instantly, suppose if you face any kind of hurdle, any kind of problem, any kind of inaccurate or incorrect answer, instantly you get the feedback. So, that feedback mechanism also helps in enhancing the performance and presenting the data on the problem solving. It also strengthens, it also boosts the problem solving skills, because when it instantly gives the feedback, so the player quickly learns that, oh, this is not the right way, that is the right approach, this is not the correct answer, that is the correct answer. So, instantly getting the feedback also enables him to approaching towards the success. So, games as the architecture of engagement, again games are the best method, best pedagogical method of engagement. So, if you want to engage our children in a very constructive way, very positive way, so playing the video games not only engages them, but also it enhances their cognitive capacity. So, research has already stated that this kind of playing the digital games or being techno savvy in handling the computer, it enhances the cognitive abilities, flexibility, sharpness and focused attention of the children, which also helps them in developing the good study habits or in the academic performance. So, it is a kind of that is games are the real tools, you can say, for the engagement of the learners. But yes, but definitely we have to look into the content, whether it is like too much of all kinds of these fighting games or racing games, too much of that means this kind of violent games, like too much of violent fighting, shooting, all kinds of things. It is destructive, because it generates a kind of anxiety and excitement, which is too much of excitement is actually not good for the children. But however, we can regulate, we can design the content accordingly to engage them in a very positive way. So, games are based on the theory of intrinsic motivation. As you know, the games, it is a best tool for the engagement. So, we can design the games to enhance the intrinsic motivation, the innate compassion of the children, not only by engaging them in different kinds of fantasy, giving them some kind of challenges to overcome, some kind of hurdles, intentionally put some hurdles, and to observe how they are resolving these issues, how they are overcoming the hurdles and impediments, and then by generating some kind of curiosity, like when they cannot predict what is coming up next. So, it generates a kind of curiosity by putting some adventure components also. So, to motivate the players, to engage them, and so these concepts like fantasy, curiosity, adventure, these are the components which have been added in the computer games, video games, for enhancing the students' engagement and motivation. Social context of the gameplay also add the collaboration and competition in the intrinsic rewards. Social context of the games, like suppose in which that means in which context we have designed, whether it is the context of winning the war, or winning a racing competition, or winning a game, games like in the card games, or maybe chess games, or maybe some kind of outdoor games. So, that kind of competition, that kind of content can also enhance a kind of competition, like when you are playing, the two players are there or two characters are there in the game. So, the children can develop a kind of how to win, kind of competitive mindset. So, this competitive mindset, sometimes depending on the content of the game also, it requires that you need to collaborate with others. So, how to collaborate with others. So, these competitive skills as well as the collaborative skills also improves a lot. So, this is because it gives a kind of intrinsic reward by winning the game, or by achieving the credit, getting the credit, or etc. So, games designed on this principle could leverage the mathematics learning as well as the students motivation for higher performance. As we have already discussed, like the games are the good platforms for, for developing not only the learning skills like mathematical skill, vocabulary skill, word problems, like how to make them understand the different kinds of word problems by giving them some kind of puzzles. So similarly some of the social issues, geographical issues, environmental issues can be embedded in the game to develop a kind of understanding. Nowadays all the almost all the school subjects and courses and topics have been prepared in the e-learning mode, so e-courses, where not only the content but the animation, the animations, the multimedia features have also been embedded, like in case of geography, science, or environmental science, even history also. If you want to, if you want to show them or make them understand how the French Revolution has taken place, or how the World War has taken place, and what were its outcome. So by just going through the books or by listening to the lectures may not help them so much, but while watching the e-course or e-module on the subject content like French Revolution, World War, or the earthquake, or a volcano, how it erupts, these kind of events, it leaves a kind of very good impression or a lasting impression in their mind, through which the children can learn and remember a lot. So it also enhances their motivation to go through this e-content to increase their general awareness and the subject related tasks also. So another technique is like computer supported collaborative learning. We have already discussed about the collaborative learning. Now within the framework of collaborative learning, how can computer facilitate a lot in enhancing the learning and performance? That is called the computer supported collaborative learning. That CSCL refers to the collaborative learning being mediated by the computers and network devices. So the collaborative learning has been primarily supported by, supplemented by, or mediated by computers and multiple network devices. It can occur simultaneously with learners interacting with each other in real time, like in face to face, or in a chat room, or in a classroom session, or asynchronously, maybe that when they are physically not present. So asynchronously with the individual contributions stretched out over the time, like maybe they keep in touch with themselves with the emails, messages, SMS, all kinds of things, or they physically they are present live in a chat room in video conferencing mode, or in audio conferencing mode. So they can see they are physically present even though in different locations. So here the computers or the network devices collaborate them, and simultaneously they can discuss about the topic and the task at hand. So CCCL, the computer supported collaborative learning, can be completely mediated by computers and networks with members in different buildings, places, countries, as we have now discussed. Like they can simultaneously and the same time synchronously discuss the whole issue through video conferencing, being placed in different localities, in different countries, places, etc. So that is possible only because of the computer networks. So it can also involve the learners together in the same physical space using the computational devices, like maybe through their handhelds, mobiles, smartphones, tablets, to facilitate the face to face communication, Nowadays the smartphones are available where you can talk to the person through video chat. So it is also often conflicted with the e-learning mode. So organization of instructions across the computer networks, when the computers are connected to all the computers are connected in the local area network. So it can make the whole discussion live and put it in the synchronous mode. So digital content may provide the important resources for the students, but can only be effective within the larger motivational and interactive social context. So maybe the content, the material have been prepared in the e-learning mode, the digital contents are already there, but it will be more successful, more fruitful when the students, all the participants, they interact or discuss and or have the dialogue on this content and the topic and in an interactive mode. So online teaching also requires as much as much effort by the human teachers as well as the classroom teachers. Like if we start this computer supported collaborative learning as a pedagogical method, we adopt it and we can connect the student groups in different different places, different locations, location, and start teaching them or discussing with them. So, different group of students situated in different contexts, different localities, and we have started teaching through computer supported collaborative learning. So, it also requires, even though that means computers or digital devices facilitates us, but we have to put effort to make it a success, because the content has to be prepared properly. Then the teacher should that means simultaneously he has to engage with the different discussions with the different groups and answer their queries. So, it requires equal effort, like it is not like this like the teacher can easily do it without spending time or putting effort. So, online teaching also it requires as much effort by the human teachers as the classroom teaching takes place in the face to face mode. So, teachers should motivate and guide each student through ongoing interaction and sense of social presence. So, definitely it has the positive positive points, merits, like simultaneously so many students can have access or can remotely have access to the good teaching, quality teaching, or any kind of discussion or the laboratory work or any kind of demonstration work. And for that matter, the teacher has to make special effort to make it as interesting, as informative, as successful as possible, but simultaneously he has to constantly motivate also all the partners, all the students, all the participants to feel the social presence even in the digital mode, to feel the social presence even in the digital mode, to have a dialogue, to discuss, and to make it successful. Like them, all of them, they must gain out of it. Yes, in order to overcome some of the impediments, we are using the digital device to address a large number of participants, larger number of students, etc., to cater to their needs. But to what extent we have been successful in satisfying their needs, in making them satisfied with this kind of e-learning mode also. So, it allows the students from around the world to participate and allows the teachers to work from any place with the internet connectivity. Yes, of course, that means hazards of technology can be there, like that means sometimes some connectivity failure or some kind of power problems may be there, or energy problem may be there, but if you can successfully overcome this internet connectivity can cater to the needs of a large number of students around the world. And another benefit is that simultaneously we are exposed to their the different students from different culture, from different society, from different background, we are exposed to their perspective, their opinions, their views. So, we can have a you can say we can have a flavor of global classroom. We can have a flavor of global classroom in this computer supported learning network. So, again computer supported network also it stresses the collaboration among the learners. Primarily it emphasizes the collaboration among the learners, how the students, how the participants, they interact, they collaborate with each other to feel the social presence, and stimulating and sustaining productive student interaction on e-learning platform requires skillful planning. Again, in order to make it as 100% successful, it needs a very skillful action plan. Skillful action plan in the sense that you have to design not only the content and the program and the modules in a details in a meticulous way, but also other kinds of how the students they will coordinate, what would be the timing, what would be the mode, what would be the questions. So, and how to implement this curriculum, how to adopt which technology mode, when it should be that is the interactive mode should be opted for, when it should be like the assignments mode should be opted for, when the teamwork should be given some kind of assignments. So, all these kinds of planning and starting from the content to the technology mode, like which technology tool, which technology mode, the timing and the pedagogical mode, everything should be skillfully designed. to make it 100% success. So, and but again it improves with practice definitely. In the first instance it may not be very successful, but with in order to make it very sustainable and productive, and in order to retain the motivation of all the participants, or in order to make it very more informative and knowledgeable in terms of its learning outcomes, we have to skillfully design it, practice it, modify it from time to time again. However, the CCCL supporters also supports the face to face collaboration. It also requires a face to face collaboration. That is why we say that even though in the backdrop we are collaborating, or all the student groups, they are collaborating asynchronously among themselves through emails, chatting etc. But also sometimes we should that means face to face, we should have a discussion face to face through primarily video conferencing mode. So, after the physical face to face communication, video conferencing mode is the next effective way of having a live classroom, or having a feeling of a live classroom. So, now so these are the advantages of CCCL, like computer supported collaborative learning. Now, here for the time being we stop here. Next session we will start another technique. Now, thank you very much.